Welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv if you're new here, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. This is something that I really haven't seen on social media at all. I'm sure it is out there, but it just hasn't shown up on like my pages, so I really wanted to take a moment to try this out. I'm going to be getting ready, doing my hair and makeup while I chit chat with you guys about my Bible study, and I'm going to be going over kind of like the verses that I had to read today in Genesis, what I gathered from it, and then also go over my actual Bible study because it had so many good like end of the week points to ponder and also actions for the next week, and it really related to my life, not just through the Bible, but like it perfectly related to my life in other categories. And I thought that was really cool, and I love it when that happens, when the Bible just like lines up and Jesus's word lines up with the things that you're trying to achieve in your own life. Just gonna jump right in. I have curlers in the next scene, so just be ready for the jump scare. Let me know if you guys like this style video by leaving me a comment below, subscribing to my channel, and also liking this video. But okay, let's get into it. I know I look crazy right now. So I just finished my Bible study, and what I took from today was so applicable to my real life. It has to do with like goal setting, and then also just there was like a really interesting part of the Bible that I learned about today. So anyway, they have only been sitting for probably like however long it took me to read those few passages. Maybe I read 37 through 46, and I'm using this Bible in 52 weeks. So once you're done reading all of the readings on the left, you kind of read through everything on the right, and it just reminds you what everything was that you just read through, and then it gives you a lot of like prompts over here. It said, what goals did you give up on that seemed too far-fetched? And mine that just like kind of quickly came to mind was end of last year. I kind of wasn't giving up on YouTube, but I just wasn't posting as much as I needed to make it happen, and I just kept kind of having the excuse that working full-time and doing YouTube is just so difficult, and I really want to just kind of get back into it. It said, number 2, what visions or dreams do you have that you need to pick back up and dust off? And I really want to pursue social media even more, really stick to my goals, really make it happen. I've been feeling super motivated this week, so that's encouraging to me because I am actually getting content out, both short form and long form content. I'm really starting to see what I love, and it's really just self-improvement, recipes, working out, stuff like that. That's what I excel at, and that's what I feel like I'm probably best at teaching other people, because every time I'm talking about other people, I'm very passionate about it. So anyway, and then I have a new, very early goal. I haven't even really thought this all the way through, how I would do it, if I would do it, but I kind of want to look into becoming a Gymshark athlete, because I do have a lot of their workout outfits and sets, and I love what they stand for. They're extremely inclusive. I feel like they're perfect for the person that does not want to compete but cares a lot about the gym and working out and getting really strong. So I really like what they stand for, and these I got really influenced this week, particularly by someone that I saw on YouTube, and I've kind of been talking about her on my stories. Her name is Jessica Bickling. She's a Gymshark athlete, for one, and for two, I just really like her style, her dedication to her editing, and some other things. So anyway, just kind of put it in my brain that maybe that is something that I would enjoy working towards, and I'm just gonna start tagging them in, you know, anytime I wear their stuff. I'm about to do the top pieces, which are a little bit concerning. This is the bottom so far. I think it's gonna fall, but it's giving me like a nice fluffy blowout. Anyway, so I put that vision or dream that I want to pick up and dust off. That would be like a totally new one, but you get the idea. The last one, so I'm reading Genesis, by the way, right now, and the whole idea of towards the end of Genesis, like 35 and on, is that Rachel, she died before reaching her promise. She grieved over the fact that she couldn't have a child. Her sister Leah was so fruitful, but Rachel was unable to conceive, which caused her a lot of heartache. Then God finally blessed Rachel with a son whom she named Joseph. Joseph becomes an extremely important Yeah, I know, that's crazy. Extremely important character in this book of the Bible, so that's very relevant. But Rachel ends up dying during childbirth, and she couldn't really enjoy the fruit of her labor. So it says, my dear sister, giving up is not an option no matter how difficult the journey. You have amazing goals and dreams. Do not let those dreams die. Please know somebody is waiting on that, on what is to come through you. They are waiting on a mentorship, a book, or a business that has to be birthed through you. So how cool is that? That the literal Bible study that I have this week is talking directly to me and my passions. And if this is like you too, like whatever you have to bring to the table that you've been thinking about, if you're not working on it, if you're not doing it, like you're letting that die. And we just can't do that. Can't do that. I encourage you to keep going. This says, who do you know who needs encouragement to hold on, and how will you help them? And I feel like that's just a little bit more personal because I am specifically praying for one of my friends. So I'm not gonna say that one out loud. But let's move on and talk about actions for the week. So it gave me actions for the week, and I felt like they were so good. I literally put them into my planner. There we go, twisty. Yes. I literally put them in my planner because they're so good. So let's talk about that really quick. This is my planner. Top priorities for the week. I really like this because it literally lines up with my actions for the week on my Bible study. It said, take a few minutes 3 times this week to pray for direction to get your goals back on track. So not only did I put on 3 different days to pray for direction to remind me, I have it listed here so that I'm not gonna miss it. And if we're constantly praying about getting our goals back on track and praying for direction with our goals, that's really gonna help keep us focused and keep God at the center of our goals, which is so important. Okay, let me go ahead and get these out so I can look somewhat normal for the rest of this video. Whoa, buddy. It's obviously looking a little crazy, but I'm liking it actually. Pin this out of my face. Anyway, I'm about to start doing my makeup. Did I tell you we're going to a rodeo tonight? Our friend got like free tickets and they invited us, and so I think it should be really cool. I haven't been to a rodeo since I was like very young. I don't think Reagan has ever been, so excited about that. So moving on. Okay, number 2 action for the week is to watch a video or listen to a podcast that sparks creativity to jumpstart your creative juices in your particular area of interest. So I also really love that. How cool is it when what you're reading in the Bible somehow, I mean literally especially now, just lined up perfectly with what's going on in my life and like what I'm trying to focus on. I think that's like the coolest thing when that happens. Does that ever happen to you guys? Or like when you go to church and the message that they're talking about is directly speaking to you? I love that feeling. That was the number 2 action. And I like how these actions are like so measurable and specific. They're not like do better at this. It's like 3 times do this. Listen or watch X, Y, Z. Like it's very specific. Number 3 was to put a timeline in place to accomplish some of your goals one at a time. And then the last one, the last action is easy. It's just share your goals and timeline with someone so that they can help keep you accountable. I really love how my planner has top priorities for the week so that I can literally list out these things. And I love that it's related to my Bible study. And now I'm using the Infallible Pro Glow. So today I read double on the Bible because I was behind. As I read through the Bible, I have my phone open. I look up every chapter's summary as I'm learning or as I'm reading. This time I actually did it at the end. I read everything first and then I went back in with each summary to take more notes, which I actually kind of liked that method because I could just kind of read it faster, feel more accomplished that I finished it faster. And then I got reminded as I had to jump back chapters and like, oh, like almost reading it twice, you know? You had your brain got a chance to catch up that way and have to like force yourself to remember things, because it's very easy to forget what you learn in the Bible. You learn something and like a week later you're like, I had no idea about that. Where was I? So anyway, this really helps me taking notes and looking it up either as I go or like right as soon as I'm done. I will quickly go through all of the points that I learned in my Bible reading today. Like I said, I read 37 through 47. 37 was all about Joseph's dreams. So Joseph is Israel's son, and he has this dream that everyone is basically bowing down to him, and his brothers don't like that. So his brothers end up selling him to merchants on the road. So God, one of my notes is God uses the evil deeds of others to fulfill his plan as revealed in Joseph's dream. So Joseph has this dream, of course, people are going to look up to him, and that's ultimately what happens, because through him getting sold to these merchants, he ends up now being with the Pharaoh. Dionite merchants come by, the brothers pull Joseph out of the cistern, they were like threw him in a cistern, and they sold him to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. And then they lie, the brothers lie, and they go tell his dad that he's been killed by animals. They bring him like a bloody robe. And then the Midianites sold Joseph to Egypt, one of Pharaoh's officials. So that's how he ends up in Egypt. This is interesting about Judah and Tamar. So Tamar is the daughter-in-law. He has two sons, and Onan. Now, both of these sons end up being like not good people, and they both die. God kills them both because they're both just not good. The world just works different back then. They were supposed to like be with Tamar to help her conceive a child to continue on the lineage, and they weren't. Like when one brother died because he was evil, the next brother was supposed to take over, and he didn't. Like he wouldn't give her a child, and so God kills him too. And we understand why this is so important. This lineage is so important. This lineage ends up being the lineage of Jesus Christ. So I know this is kind of crazy. Jesus Christ comes from the line of Judah. Judah ends up getting deceived by Tamar. So God always works in mysterious ways, right? She dresses up as a prostitute and tricks Judah into sleeping with her. He never knows that she put a cloak over her face. That seems to happen a lot in the Bible. Like, how did you not know? But whatever. People deceive each other just by like dressing up back in the day. So he doesn't know who she is, ends up getting her pregnant, tries to then kill her when she comes back and she's pregnant, and he sees her as normal. He's like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. Like, how are you pregnant? She ends up proving he had given her seal and cord and staff. So she comes out and she says, I am pregnant by the man who owns these. And see if you recognize who seal, cord, and staff these are. Judah recognized them and said, she is more righteous than I am. He kind of realizes his mistake. And this is so important because this then keeps the lineage alive. And one of the questions that came up when I was Googling is like, why does Jesus come from such a mess of a family, like such a mess of like all these problems, and this person dying and this person being unrighteous and this person sleeping with the prostitute and blah, 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 blah. Why did God make him come from that family? It just kind of shows that, you know, they worded it in a way like they are jars of clay that are cracked, but we see Jesus's light shine through those cracks. And I really liked this. So Judah's humiliation and his sin is confronted. I said the ugly scene in our story isn't the end of our story. So a lot of times when we're finding things in our life that, you know, we might regret or we wish didn't happen or are ugly, we are still worthy. And as you see, even the Son of God, Jesus Christ, specifically came from something that at one time seemed so broken. I feel like I didn't even know that Jesus came from this lineage until I was reading the little like notes and summaries. So that's why I highly encourage you to pull out your phone or computer and kind of learn as you go, because otherwise a lot of stuff is missed, and I wouldn't have ever put two and two together or learned that. And I just really like that the ugly scene in our story isn't the end of our story. And I think that is like pretty much the biggest thing from these passages. Oh, so what ultimately ends up happening with Joseph is he ends up in prison because it's either the wife of the Pharaoh or the wife of somebody wanted to be with him, and he said no, and he was loyal and had integrity and said no. Well, she ends up like framing him to make it seem like he tried and she said no, and he ends up going to prison. While he's in prison, he explains the dreams of two of like the cupbearer and somebody else in there, and explains what their dreams meant. And then it comes true 3 days later. And Joseph says, I don't know where he said this, but he basically was like, remember me when you're back with the Pharaoh and tell him that I was right and get me out of here. Well, he doesn't remember him. And I think like some 20 years goes by, and then the Pharaoh starts having dreams and he wants someone to explain them. Well, now that cupbearer is like, oh my God, I completely forgot 20 years ago. I'm using this blush, by the way. The guy in the prison, Joseph, he told me what was gonna happen. He's really good at dreams. I completely forgot about him. Shoot. And so he comes and he explains Pharaoh's dreams. Pharaoh's dream was that there were like 7 cows that were healthy, and then 7 fat, not healthy cows came up and ate them. And then same thing with like stalks of wheat or something. There were like 7 good ones and 7 bad ones. And Joseph explains his dream that you're gonna have 7 years of good harvest and then 7 years of famine. And this helps the Pharaoh, you know, set aside however much he needs each year so that they don't all die later on. Okay, so one of the messages of this was that God is going to reveal his purpose on his own time. Because here Joseph is sitting in prison all these years thinking that he's like forgotten and no one's ever coming for him, but God does come for him. It took a long time. I don't know if I would have the patience that these people have in the Bible, but if it's one thing that I've learned is a major theme already just in the first book of the Bible is patience, because the person that's patient and the person that is persistent seems to really get the most out of life. I'm using this Blush Crush by ColourPop, and I'm just using like a bunch of random colors. Right now I'm using this one all over my lid, just like set a base. So anywho, at the very end, the last like good point that I feel like I had, oh, his brothers end up reuniting because they come back to Egypt, and there's a whole story with that I'm sure there's more to, but I couldn't find anything too deep about that. Just reconciliation, forgiveness, family, that of course. The last part is also very interesting. Joseph ends up basically like taking care of the Pharaoh because he ends up buying all this land back for him, and he gets blessed by the Pharaoh. So Joseph's family is blessed in Egypt as much as they were blessed in Canaan. God remains faithful to them even in a foreign land. This is a very comforting message for Jewish people when they're reading this, and this is in the Old Testament, of course, so they are reading this. This is a comforting message to Jews that repeatedly face exile. I felt like that was kind of a really important thing to note, is that even in the face of adversity, even in times of being exiled and changing, and you're sold into this Joseph was sold one day and then he ends up in the Pharaoh's area, and then he ends up getting blessed with land. Like, it all ends up coming back, and it is really special for Jews to read this passage and see that even when they are exiled, they still are finding favor with the Lord. Anyway, I'm nearing the end of my Bible study breakdown for you guys, and I'm also nearing the end of my makeup look. So I'll just kind of talk through the last couple things. I like to cut a little eyeliner with the darkest shade in my eyeshadow palette. Okay, Reagan's starting the shower, by the way. That's what the noise in the background is. And I don't do any like crazy wing. I find that every time I do too big of a wing, I don't love how it looks. So just a tiny little wing there. But yeah, I really liked the passages that I read today. I actually, even though it felt super long as I was reading it, I really liked reading 2 days at once and catching up, because there was just so much more to break down and to build on. Like, I was actively in the story as the story continued, so I kind of liked that a lot too. I didn't even read the Bible study messages until after I finished everything. So it was such a cool thing to see how much it related to my real life, like asking me to face my what have I dropped and what have I not given enough attention to, and what can I do to spark my creativity again. Like, just so relevant. So I highly encourage you to get a Bible study. in a like a journal type book like that to help you go through the books of the Bible, because not only will it give you recommendations to read each day, but those questions at the end are really great for making you really think and process and reflect on other things that you've learned. I'm gonna do mascara real quick. This is Falsy Surreal. I don't even know why I show this anymore because it looks horrible. I'll link everything in the description. I know I didn't talk about half the things I use, so I have to link everything for you guys in the description anyway. I'll link the study book in the description as well. But let me know what you guys think about this. Like I said, I don't really know anyone that is sitting with the Bible and breaking down their readings as they do their hair and makeup, but there's just something that I love about this. Like, look at my desk right now. Is that not actually like the girliest, cutest little thing that I just have my Bible open and I'm just sitting with God. God is a girl dad. He sits with us and he comforts us, and we're just like having an open discussion. We're just talking and I'm just getting ready. What a good time to pray too. It's like whether you're listening to me go over this or you're just sitting with the word in general, or you're listening to, you could have your phone literally reading this passage to you as you get ready and do your makeup. How cool would that be? If you guys like this, you know, somewhat of a makeup tutorial, chatty Bible story breakdown, then please let me know in the comments. I'm gonna add a lip before I go, but it's not in this room. Oh, it is in this room. I lied. Okay. And then I'm just gonna put on a chapstick for now. But before we go, I will add a lip gloss. Probably the Charlotte Tilbury one. It's called Collagen Bath. But ta-da! I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like it if you did like it and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Yeah, I surrender.